Welcome to North Korea, the most closed-off country on Earth. Here, 25 million people live like prisoners in their own nation, completely cut off from the outside world. What shocking secrets hide behind the walls of this mysterious kingdom? And what is the real story of how their leaders live while their people suffer? North Korea is ruled by one of the world's craziest dictators, a man whose personal life would shock you. Let's start by looking at this strange country and then dive deep into the insane world of its leaders. The insane life of Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il, who ruled North Korea from 1994 to 2011, lived like no dictator in history. While his people were literally eating grass to survive, this maniac was living in unbelievable luxury with some of the most twisted personal habits you've ever heard of. Kim Jong-il was obsessed with movies and had a personal collection of over 20,000 DVDs and films. But here's the crazy part. He actually kidnapped a famous South Korean director and his actress wife in the 1970s and forced them to make movies for him for 8 years. He kept them as his personal prisoners just to make films for his entertainment. The most shocking thing about Kim Jong-il was his pleasure squad, a secret group of about 2,000 beautiful young women whose only job was to entertain him and his friends. These women were picked when they were teenagers and forced to serve the leader in ways that would make your stomach turn. Some were dancers, some were singers, but many were basically sex slaves for the ruling elite. Kim Jong-il had multiple wives and mistresses, but he kept most of these relationships secret. He fathered several children with different women, treating them like his personal breeding stock. The women who bore his children were given luxury apartments and money, but they could never leave or talk about their relationships. This sick man spent millions of dollars on personal luxuries while his people starved. He owned dozens of palaces, a private train with bulletproof cars, and even had his own private island where he threw wild parties. He imported the most expensive food and drinks from around the world while ordinary North Koreans were dying from hunger. Life for ordinary people. While the Kim family lives like kings, ordinary North Koreans live in conditions that are hard to believe in the 21st century. Most people in North Korea live in small, freezing apartments with no heating, limited electricity, and often no running water. The average North Korean is about 2 inches shorter than South Koreans because of poor nutrition and constant hunger. Many people have never had enough food in their entire lives. A normal meal might be a small bowl of rice with some vegetables if they're lucky. Meat is so rare that most people eat it only a few times per year. North Koreans cannot travel freely within their own country. They need special permission just to move from one city to another. They definitely cannot leave the country. Trying to escape is punished by death or by sending the person's entire family to prison camps. There is no internet for regular people, no foreign TV shows, no foreign music, and no foreign books. Everything is controlled by the government, and people get in serious trouble just for listening to South Korean pop music or watching foreign movies. Everyone must work where the government tells them to work, live where they're told to live, and think what they're told to think. Children are taught from birth that their leader is like a god, and that the outside world is evil and dangerous. The saddest part is that most North Koreans have no idea how terrible their lives are compared to the rest of the world. They've been brainwashed since birth to think this is normal. 8. The prison country. North Korea sits in East Asia, taking up the northern half of the Korean peninsula. The country covers about 120,000 square kilometers, making it roughly the size of England. About 25 million people live here, but they might as well be living on another planet because they're completely cut off from the rest of the world. The country shares borders with China to the north, Russia to the northeast, and South Korea to the south. Between North and South Korea runs one of the most dangerous borders on Earth, called the DMZ. This border is packed with soldiers, landmines, and weapons pointing at each other 24 hours a day. Almost everyone in North Korea speaks Korean, and the government forces everyone to follow their twisted version of communism. But calling it communism is a joke because it's really just a kingdom where one family has ruled for over 70 years like kings, and North Korea has some coal and iron in the ground. But the country is too isolated and badly run to make money from these resources. Instead of building a real economy, the government spends all its money on weapons and keeping the ruling family living in luxury. The country's location makes it important because it sits between China and American allies like South Korea and Japan. This is why the world pays attention to North Korea, even though it's economically worthless. One wrong move here could start a massive war. 7. From war zone to nightmare state. Most people don't know that North Korea used to be just the northern part of regular Korea. After World War II ended, the Soviet Union took control of the North while America controlled the South. This split was supposed to be temporary, but it became permanent when both sides couldn't agree on how to reunite the country. In 1950, North Korea invaded South Korea, starting a brutal war that killed millions of people. The war officially ended in 1953, but technically, the two countries are still at war today because they only signed a ceasefire, not a real peace treaty. After the war, a man named Kim Il-sung took complete control of North Korea. He didn't just want to be a regular leader. He wanted to be worshipped like a god. Kim Il-sung created a system where his family would rule forever and everyone else would be their slaves. When Kim Il-sung died in 1994, his son Kim Jong-il took over. Kim Jong-il was completely insane and lived one of the most ridiculous lifestyles in human history. When he died in 2011, his son Kim Jong-un became the new dictator, and he's just as crazy as his father and grandfather. This family has turned North Korea into their personal playground while keeping everyone else locked up and starving. They've created the most evil government system in the modern world. 6. Kim Jong-un's wild modern lifestyle. Kim Jong-un, the current leader, has continued his family's tradition of living like an insane king while his people suffer. But he's taken the madness to new levels with his modern lifestyle that would make a Hollywood celebrity jealous. Kim Jong-un is completely obsessed with luxury and spends incredible amounts of money on personal pleasures. He owns multiple private jets, luxury yachts, and a collection of expensive cars that includes Ferraris, Mercedes, and even armored limousines. This is in a country where most people have never even seen a car up close. Like his father, Kim Jong-un also maintains his own pleasure squad of beautiful women. These women are selected from across the country based on their looks and forced to serve the leader and his inner circle. Many are teenagers when they're chosen, and they disappear from their families forever to serve in the leader's palaces. Kim Jong-un has been married to a woman named Ri Sol-ju since 2009, but he also keeps multiple mistresses in secret relationships. His wife rarely appears in public, and when she does, she's always perfectly dressed and smiling. But people who escape North Korea say she's basically a prisoner, too. The most disgusting part is that Kim Jong-un throws massive parties at his palaces with imported alcohol, exotic foods, and entertainment, while his people are so hungry they eat tree bark. He has chefs flown in from around the world to prepare special meals, while ordinary North Koreans get a few spoonfuls of rice if they're lucky. Intelligence reports suggest that Kim Jong-un spends over $300 million per year just on personal luxury items, while the average North Korean makes less than $2 per day. 5. The secret police state. North Korea operates one of the most evil surveillance systems ever created. The country has several different secret police organizations that spy on citizens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every neighborhood has secret informants whose job is to report on their neighbors. These informants listen for any criticism of the government, any mention of the outside world, or any behavior that seems suspicious. Even children are encouraged to spy on their own parents and report them to authorities. The country runs a network of prison camps called Kwanliso, where hundreds of thousands of people are held as political prisoners. These camps are so brutal that they make Nazi concentration camps look mild. Prisoners are worked to death, tortured, and executed for the smallest infractions. What makes these camps especially evil is that North Korea practices guilt by association. This means if one person commits a crime like trying to escape or criticizing the government, their parents, children, and grandchildren are also sent to prison camps. Entire families disappear forever because one member made a mistake. Former prisoners who escaped describe horrific conditions, people eating rats and insects to survive, public executions for stealing food, and guards who treat prisoners worse than animals. Many people are born in these camps and die there without ever seeing the outside world. The government also uses public executions to terrorize people. Citizens are forced to watch as people are shot or hanged for crimes like watching foreign movies, trying to escape, or even stealing food. 4. The fake economy. North Korea's economy is basically fake. The government claims everything is wonderful, but the reality is that the country is one of the poorest places on Earth. Most factories don't work because there's no electricity or raw materials. Workers show up to empty factories and pretend to work because not showing up would get them in trouble. Many factories haven't produced anything in years, but workers still have to go there every day. The government gives people ration cards that are supposed to provide food, but the rations are so small that people would starve if that's all they ate. Most families have to find illegal ways to get extra food, like growing vegetables in secret or buying things on black markets. North Korea has its own money called the won, but it's basically worthless. People prefer to trade using Chinese money, American dollars, or even just trading goods directly. The government has destroyed its own economy so badly that its own money is a joke. Most North Koreans survive by breaking the law. They grow food illegally, sell things on black markets, or cross the border into China to bring back goods. The government knows this happens, but pretends it doesn't because otherwise everyone would starve. The only people who have money are government officials and people connected to the ruling family. These people live in nice apartments in Pyongyang, the capital city, while everyone else lives in poverty. 3. The nuclear obsession. While North Korean people don't have enough food to eat, their government spends enormous amounts of money building nuclear weapons and missiles. This shows how twisted the government's priorities are. North Korea has been working on nuclear weapons since the 1960s, and they now have enough nuclear material to make dozens of bombs. They also have missiles that can reach Japan, South Korea, and even the United States. The government tells people that these weapons are necessary to protect North Korea from invasion, but the real reason is to keep the Kim family in power. They use nuclear weapons to threaten other countries and force them to give North Korea money and food. Building these weapons cost billions of dollars that could be used to feed people or build hospitals and schools. Instead, the government chooses to build bombs while children starve in the streets. The nuclear program also makes North Korea more isolated because other countries impose sanctions to punish them for building weapons. These sanctions make life even harder for ordinary people while the ruling elite continue living in luxury. North Korea's nuclear tests have poisoned parts of their own country. Some areas near test sites have higher rates of birth defects and cancer, but the government hides this information and continues testing. 2. Escaping the nightmare. Getting out of North Korea is one of the most dangerous things a person can do. The government shoots people who try to escape and punishes their families severely. Most people who escape have to cross into China first, but even that's extremely dangerous. The border is covered with electric fences, landmines, and guards who will shoot on sight. Many people die trying to cross. Even if someone makes it to China, they're not safe. China has an agreement with North Korea to send escaped people back, which means certain death or prison camps. Escapees have to hide in China and find ways to reach South Korea or other countries that will protect them. The journey to freedom often takes years and costs thousands of dollars. Many escapees have to work as slaves in China or get help from Christian missionaries and human rights groups who risk their lives to help people escape. Women who escape face additional horrors. Many are sold as wives to Chinese men or forced into prostitution. Some are raped or abused for years before they can continue their journey to freedom. The lucky few who make it to South Korea or other free countries often struggle with trauma and depression. They've lost their families forever and have to learn how to live in a completely different world. Many suffer from guilt about the family members they left behind.